Oh, people are going to hate me for this one. So if you're a fan, you might want to get out of here. Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome to another movie review with your boy Gor the Movie God. That's me, and I just got back from seeing a little movie called Aqua Boy. That's right, the Aqua Boy finally got his movie. We've been waiting for years. It feels like it's been years since I've heard about this movie being, made, and it went through a couple different directors. Not as many as the Flash movie, by the way, just saying. But it's finally here. Comes out during the holiday, and it's doing extremely well, especially in China. Oh man, I mean, I feel like almost every movie at this point does well in China. Even well, besides Star Wars, I guess Star Wars doesn't do well in China, but this movie's show doing well. Venom show did well. So I was very excited for this movie. I thought the regular trailer was pretty fun. I was like, yeah, that's good. But I really like that 5-minute trailer. It condensed a lot of the scenes in this movie down to 5 minutes. I was like, whoa, a lot of these scenes are really nice, very beautiful looking. Love some of the shots. That one shot of the king, like, throwing up the trident and all the, like, what was it? Like, I think it was, like, whales or whatever, like, flying around everywhere. I was like, oh, my God, this is beautiful. There's some great shots in that trailer, so I was really excited for this movie. And I saw this right after I saw Spider-Man and before I saw Bumblebee. It was right in between. Yesterday, and I saw it in IMAX as well, so I made sure to see it in the biggest screen possible to get the maximum effect of the visuals. And I thought it was okay. I did not love it. I wouldn't even say I liked it overall. I liked a lot about it, but overall, I would say it is a very disappointing movie. It is not a mess, though. But it just feels off to me. The whole thing feels off. It feels like it's really trying hard to be fun when it should have just been fun. Like it should have just came off as fun besides like really trying to be fun. Like it's really trying, guys, to have you really like it so much. But I never felt like it. It felt like it was like processed fun besides just it being fun. And I just really was disappointed with this movie. Now, I'm not going to, again, like I said, I thought it was okay. I thought there was a lot of really good stuff in it. And I actually appreciate some of this stuff more after having a day to think about it. Because I watched this movie yesterday. So I'm glad I actually gave it some time. Because I appreciate some stuff a little bit more after thinking about it more. But I still don't think it's as great as some people are saying. Some people are saying like it's the best DCU movie. Which I'm like, I don't know. It has a better last final act than Wonder Woman does. I will agree with that. But overall, I think Wonder Woman is a better movie. I would even say, I don't know, I would say like Man of Steel. I actually really like Man of Steel still. And I would say Man of Steel might be just a little bit better. I prefer the character of Superman over Aquaman personally. But I don't know. I have to watch that movie again. So that one probably wouldn't hold up now after getting barraged with like 2,000 superhero movies since Man of Steel. So we'll see how that holds up after a rewatch. But yeah, this movie just really disappointed me. Okay, but before I get to the negatives, even though I've already talked about negatives, let's talk about the positives, because there are some legit positives in this movie. I'm not gonna sit here and go like it sucks, it's horrible, I hate it, too much water. Remember that. But I really like Jason Momoa. Like I liked him in Justice League. I thought he was the best part of Justice League personally. I think he really fits that character. Whenever he's trying to be like smarmy and funny, he nails it. I think he's very charismatic. He might not be like the best actor ever, but when it gets right down to it, when he wants to really bulk up and do action, he's great at it. And when he wants to be funny and goofy and stuff, he's great at it too. He even has a couple of really sincere, like warm moments where he talks to somebody and it's like actually really well done. And him and Amber Heard have decent chemistry, even though I wouldn't say they have like, because I thought in Justice League and, well, I guess just Justice League, I thought they had like already kind of some sort of a relationship. When in this movie, you find out that they barely even know each other. So I was like, oh, okay. I thought there was already like some kind of like history behind their characters, and maybe there is, but they don't seem like they know each other. How Aquaman doesn't even know, or Arthur Curry, that's his real name, doesn't even know her name. Her name's Mira, by the way, in this movie, and that actually caught me off guard because I thought just the way they made it seem like in Justice League they knew each other, but I don't know. Maybe I just don't remember Justice League enough. that could be it, which wouldn't be my fault, I don't think, because kind of forgettable, personally. And I don't want to upset fans, but I thought it was not good. But anyway, I didn't think it was bad, again, but whatever. But anyway, Jason Momoa is great. I thought he was really, really fun in the role. Now, if I can shoehorn a negative into here, I feel like his character doesn't get lost in there, but I don't really feel the growth of his character as much as I should, because in this he starts off as like he's a drunk, he saves people here and there, but he's kind of a dick too at times, because in the beginning he does something where he saves somebody, saves a bunch of people, some innocent people that are just on a submarine, and then he lets one person die. It's one of the pirates that takes over the submarine. And that just seemed like that's not a superhero-ish thing to do, and I felt like that should have been more fleshed out later, and they kind of do, but it didn't really come across as well as it should have, because that was a moment that should have really been handled better later on. And they mention it and they do something a little bit later, but it didn't come across like he really learned anything to me personally. But the character himself is fun, and Jason Momoa does a great job, and he does a great, he leads the movie, that's for damn sure. He's fun to watch throughout the entire movie. I think a lot of the designs for some of the creatures and the world itself, Atlantis, looks excellent. Even if some of the special effects aren't the best here and there, even considering that, the designs are really cool, and some of the special effects are gorgeous. There's some shots that are like beautiful. Reminded me very much, not saying it's ripping it off, I'm just comparing it, okay, because it's a superhero movie too. Kind of reminded me of Thor Ragnarok, where Thor Ragnarok had moments where like all the Valkyries coming in to fight Hela, and it was like a beautiful shot. It reminded me of that. There was a lot of really awesome imagery in this movie, especially in the last act. The last act had scenes where it's just like, this seems like what Zack Snyder was trying to do with Batman v Superman. Just certain shots, especially at the end where it's all dark and it's raining and it's, the bad guy versus good guy or whatever. It's just really comes across as like a black and white like comic at times, and it was actually really well done. It wasn't black and white technically, but it had that kind of look to it, which I really enjoyed. The world itself, what we get of the world, is really cool, and I wish we explored it more. I'll talk about that in the negatives, because they don't really do that. Like I keep saying, the last act, I would say pretty much from the moment he gets his costume, which isn't a spoiler because they put it right in the freaking trailer, from that point onwards, everything there is really solid. I really enjoyed a lot of that stuff. It's really mostly the first like hour and 40 minutes that had a lot of problems, I think. So that last act I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed for the most part, I should say. And I really, really enjoyed a lot of the action, I will say. Even some stuff in the first hour and 40 minutes. There's that one shot, or that one action scene of Arthur and Mira running away from Black Manta and his crew. And I really enjoyed that stuff. It was kind of goofy looking at times, which I enjoyed. There's a couple of like humor moments in there that actually kind of worked. And I was like, okay, you know what? This stuff's fun. It might not be really badass like it maybe should be at times, especially with Arthur. Like, Arthur's supposed to be this badass, and I never really get a sense of that until the end of the movie, because he's either getting his ass beat, and he actually mentions this in the movie, which I thought was kind of funny. He's always getting his ass beat and losing and then just getting saved at the last second. And I kind of like that, which would benefit the whole, like, him becoming more of a hero at the end if I just felt that more, but I just don't, personally. I really enjoyed some of the action. I really did. Especially the ending. The ending stuff is great. The last, like, 10 minutes have some great action stuff. And it's just, it pleased my little baby brain just to see some of the visuals that were going on there. Because, don't get me wrong, even though there is a lot of really beautiful shots, there is some goofy shit that looks beautiful, but it's goofy. Like, it's like, ooh. And I love me some goofy. If you know me, goofy is a positive. As long as you do it right, which you really have to try hard to not do goofy right for me. And I'm not talking about the character Goofy. But that's really it for the positives. I mean, I guess say some of the supporting cast does a good job. Willem Dafoe is good. Amber Heard is good. Nicole Kidman is good. There's no real bad acting. I mean, there's kind of bad acting here and there. There's like a younger version of Arthur that is really bad. oh wow. He's like, I think a teenager at one point, and he's like training with Willem Dafoe. It's like a flashback, and it's some of the worst acting I've seen in a summer blockbuster. Well, okay, I'd say that, but I'm sure there's something else out there that I'm forgetting about. But it's some real bad acting, let me just say. It was really bad, but it was only like a 2-minute scene. Didn't really bother me too much. And you also had Willem Dafoe there, who was a great actor. So I will say one thing, though. They do the de-aging effect on some of the characters, and one of them is Willem Dafoe, because he's supposed to be younger. And whenever he's not in the water, it looks great. They nailed that, just like how Marvel nails it with their movies. DC nailed it until he gets into the water, and then they CG him completely, and no, it doesn't really work. It didn't look great. But all right, so let's get to the negatives. Even though I already talked about a couple of negatives, I think a lot of the humor doesn't work. There's a couple of really just groan-worthy gags in here. There's literally the gag where someone says, "You smell like whatever," you know, rancid ass. You smell bad. And then a character goes, "Ooh." All right. There's a couple of gags in there that do work, but a lot of it doesn't, and it left me going, oh no. The special effects, there's a lot of special effects here and there, like I said, with some of the characters and the faces, and there's a lot of green screen. There's one shot where we're supposed to learn more about what happened to Atlantis and why it's at the bottom of the sea, and a lot of that looked really bad. There was a lot of green screen where people were running away from like CG explosions and stuff. I'm like, ooh, oh my god. But there's a lot of great special effects too, so that's why it's on positives and negatives, because there's some great ones that look fantastic, and then there's other ones that are like, eh. And you know what's funny? A lot of those bad special effects, those shots are not in the trailers, which I thought was funny. That I was seeing the trailers, and I'm like, man, this looks gorgeous. This looks good. And then I watched the movie, I'm like, this really looks good. Oh, it's back to looking good. Oh, this looks good. Oh shit. Oh no, green screen effect again. It's just weird that there's some really bad ones, and some of the side characters I wasn't in love with. Like I wasn't in love with Mira. I thought she was okay, and I thought the relationship was fine for a movie like this. But you don't really get to know her too much, and she's just like she's there for cleavage. It feels like a lot of times, which I'm sad to say that, because I like Amber Heard, and I don't want that to be the case, but she doesn't really have much of a character. She's just like, she's the daughter of Dolph Lundgren in the movie. It was nice to see Dolph Lundgren in it, even though he was just in Creed 2. So I'm glad he's in bigger movies now. That's nice, because I really like Dolph Lundgren. But she's the daughter of Dolph Lundgren, who's a king of like another part of Atlantis or something like that, or maybe he's not even the king, I don't know, but he's like the head of something. He's important, and she's just like, she's all about like, she doesn't want a war, because the whole story is about Patrick Wilson's character, Ocean Master, who wants to take over all of Earth, meaning land and of course the sea and whatnot, because he doesn't like humans, and you know, typical stuff. He wants to end the world. But I will say this, the villain himself isn't a negative. He's not a positive or a negative. I'm talking about Ocean Master, because there's a couple of neat little things they do with him. Maybe I'll explain that a little bit later, but I wouldn't really consider him a positive. I would say he's like neutral, because he's generic, but he has some moments where you feel like he's actually a real person. But anyway, some of the side characters, like Willem Dafoe, I really like in the movie, don't get me wrong, but I don't really get a sense of his character. He's just the guy that trains Aquaman, and he's like the council member of the king or whatever. I don't know. He's like the right-hand man, I guess. And you don't really get a sense of his character in this movie. There's a lot of characters, so I can't really blame them. But, you know, like even Patrick Wilson, like I said, neutral, but you don't really get to know him too much. But he's a main character, so you should really know him. There's other ones. The father character, the Arthur Curry's father, played by Jango Fett. Or actually, did he play Jango Fett or Boba Fett? I can't remember. He voiced Jango Fett, right? Or I don't know. I don't care. Fucking prequel shit. But it's garbage. It's garbage shit. And Nicole Kidman is good too. It's just like they're kind of forgettable. They're fine. They're serviceable, but they're just forgettable. And I feel like a side cast should really, the cast all together should be all memorable, but a lot of them aren't. The movie is way too long, I feel like. They could have easily cut at least 20, 25, 30 minutes out of this movie, and it would have been fine. I think it would have benefited. This one being longer than Justice League is actually really funny, if you think about it, because Justice League is like 5 characters, 5 big characters. You got Flash, you got Batman, you got Wonder Woman. Actually 6 if you count Superman, who shows up later, because you have Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Then you got, of course, the villain who sucked ass. By the way, they bring up Steppenwolf in this movie. I was surprised they even did. I thought they were going to try to like sweep down the rug. I was like, oh, please don't bring. They bring up Steppenwolf, but they don't bring up any of the other characters in Justice League, which is weird. Maybe they did, and maybe I just like forgot. But they bring up Steppenwolf. I heard that one. I was like, ooh, don't bring that up. Let's forget it. But I don't know. It's just weird. And yeah, it's just too long. I felt like it overstayed its welcome. I think the whole point of the movie didn't really add up at the end. Like I said, I already said this. So the whole him having to become the king that Atlantis needs, it only kind of worked a little bit at the end, but I'm talking about like legit like last 10 minutes. I never felt that build up, which is a problem. I also really didn't like that we didn't spend enough time on Atlantis. I think we spent more time in the fucking desert than we spent on Atlantis, which is like the exact fucking opposite of Atlantis, by the way. Which is funny because in Justice League he spends more time in the fucking air than he does in the water. So maybe that's just a trend now with Aquaman, that he's just gonna spend more time in the exact opposite where he should fucking be. But that's probably not exactly true, but there's a lot of shots of Atlantis where Aquaman's... I mean, not even just Aquaman, just characters are like in the water and it's like blue background and that's it. You don't get to see a lot of the really nice looking cityscape of Atlantis. There's an episode, I know this is going to sound really random, me bringing this up, but there's an episode of Samurai Jack where Samurai Jack has to help like these fish people, and it's pretty much Atlantis. I think they actually might call it Atlantis. And I felt like that little episode of a show that was made 17 years ago did a better job of conveying an underwater city than this movie did. And that really upset me because I wanted Atlantis to be this big thing. Like, they really flesh it out. But they took the Thor route where it's mostly just, you know... I mean, this is already Earth, so... But it feels very otherworldly, even though it is Earth. You know, Atlantis feels very otherworldly. And it just doesn't... I mean, but I will give it credit that it globetrots a lot. So even though we spend a lot of time in the desert, there's going to be times where, you know, Aquaman has to go here and kind of maybe like do some platforming, like friggin' Nathan Drake or Indiana Jones and stuff. There's some stuff in there. It's not just him above ground in a city fighting all the time. I mean, he's in the desert, he's in the city. Sometimes he is underwater. He's just not in Atlantis. And I don't know. I just want to see more Atlantis. That's really my main problem. And my last problem is the secondary villain. Now, the first villain, like I said, is neutral. Patrick Wilson has some moments where I'm just like, okay, I understand his character. The main problem with the villain, the secondary villain, which if you do not know is Black Manta. I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna say Black Panther. I'm not gonna lie. But Black Manta, who I really wanted to see because I really like the design of Black Manta, and I want to know more about that character because I don't really know much about him. The most I know about him is that I'm pretty decent with him at Injustice 2. That's about it. And I only played a few games with him, so that's not saying much. He's a fun character in Injustice 2, I'll say that. But they nailed the suit. The suit looks awesome. It really does. But the character feels so shoehorned in there. Like in the beginning, he's the one that Aquaman could save. Black Manta has someone there on the ship. He's a pirate. He's robbing the submarine. But Aquaman shows up and stops that. And Black Manta is about to lose somebody very important to him. And Aquaman says, screw that. And that's a whole revenge aspect to Black Manta. He just wants to get Aquaman because he killed somebody he knows. Or he got somebody killed that he knows and loves. Whatever. Okay, I get that. He doesn't really factor into the plot. There's a point where you see of course the city battle, and besides that, like, you don't really see him that much. And whenever you do, he's just like looking pissed. Like, I like that actor too, I really do. And it sucks that all he does is just look mad. He's just like, yeah, fuck Aquaman. Like, I'm gonna kill his ass. That's it for when it comes to a villain. Like, where Patrick Wilson actually had moments where he's just like, I don't want to kill you, man. You're my brother. I don't like you, obviously, because you're a product of, you know, stuff I don't really... I guess it's not really a spoiler. I guess I could... Of course it's not. It's in the trailer where, you know, Nicole Kidman and Jango Fett made Whoopi, and then Arthur Curry came out 9 months later, and one's a human, one's an Atlantean, so that's kind of like forbidden, I guess. And Patrick Wilson doesn't like that because he's just like, hey, I'm full Atlantean and you're not, so I don't like you, but I do like you because you're still my brother. I don't want to kill you, I just don't want to ever see you. There's little things like that where it's just like he's not just straight up evil where he's like, I will kill everyone, I hate my brother. It's not even gives like when him and Arthur fight, he even tells him like, hey man, I don't want to kill you. You just leave and never come back. Just don't come back. Okay. Just leave. I don't want to kill you because he knows he can. And I thought that stuff was good. It's just that Black Manta's just like, oh, I'm angry. I hate everything. I'm evil. I don't know. Hopefully in the next movie they do something because I would like to see Black Manta back. I just want him to be a little bit more fleshed out. Also, his voice when he has the Black Manta suit on is fucking goofy. I'm just gonna say. And I liked it. I did like it. He's just like, he kind of talks like this when he has the Black Manta suit on. Which is funny because the actor doesn't talk like that in the movie, so I don't know. I enjoyed it though. I like that part. I like that he had a goofy voice. And his helmet's so big and shit. They even make a joke about the helmet being so big. He's just like, man, I might need a bigger helmet to shoot these eye rays out. And I like that. So overall, I like Jason Momoa. I think he's a great hero for the most part, even though you don't really get a sense of him really building up to be a better person. But I like him in the movie. I like watching him do stuff. He's sexy. The designs, the world itself, a lot of special effects are really good. The last act has some great action. The action is fun for the most part throughout the entire movie. There's some really good cinematography, I should say, as well, especially in that rooftop run. Also, there's a couple of really cool one-shot action scenes. There's one in the beginning of the movie with Nicole Kidman's character, who's the Queen of Atlantis, and she whoops some ass in the beginning, and it's actually really well filmed, and it's one shot. It's only about 30 seconds long, but it's really, really good. It's really solid action. I was like, oh my god, this movie's starting off very well. It has a kind of sweet little romance story here, a love story going on. And I'm like, it's formulaic, but it's working. It's working. I'm good with it. And then it started slowly like getting more and more boring and tedious and dull and generic. And it was like, then it got better at the end, and I just wished this movie was more like the beginning, like the first 5-10 minutes maybe, and then the last maybe 20-30 minutes. Like if it was more like that throughout the entire runtime, then I'd be like, yeah, go see Aquaman, it's awesome. But it just didn't work. It just didn't work for me all the way through. And yeah, there's a lot of problems. The humor, some of the special effects, the side characters, the length, the whole world of Atlantis, the whole hero story of him building as character, the secondary villain, even the main villain's kind of, he's not negative. Again, he's neutral. He's kind of forgettable at times. And I like Patrick Wilson a lot too. I'm glad he's in it. And that's a carryover for James Wan. Lee Wynell even has a cameo in this, which I thought was funny. Also, Julie Andrews has a cameo as a giant monster, which I thought was funny. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I just didn't love it. I thought it was okay. I did enjoy it though. I should say that. I did enjoy it. Wouldn't say I liked it though. I did enjoy it. So if I had to give it a score, I'd give it a 24 out of 40, which would be around a 6 out of 10. That's just my score. 6 out of 10 is above average, I believe. Yeah. I liked a lot about it. I just didn't like it overall. So, sadly, that's all I can say. If you hate me because of my opinion, then that's just how it is, and you just hate me. I don't care. I'm not going to sit here and go, I loved it, just so I can get more likes. So, don't care. That's not what it's about, baby. All right? That's not what it's about, baby. It's about telling you what my opinion is. And I thought it was meh. If you told me last year that I would like Bumblebee more than friggin' Aquaman, I would have slapped you in the face. That's just straight up how it is. So there you go. That's it. Thank you. Until next time. Goodbye.